Well, good morning, everybody. If you haven't seen it or heard, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken completely myth-busted on Twitter X. In fact, the link is put right in his tweet. It's put right there that completely dispels everything he says. Anthony Blinken tells the world that the Soviet Union Holocaust in relation to 1941 didn't happen. So he's a Holocaust denier. Mass amounts of Jewish NGOs right out of the United States of America and many academic institutions published much between 1941 and 1945 on just how bad it got for the Soviet soldiers and POWs captured by the Germans. And it was the idea of the superior race. Lots logged there. Nobody was treated as bad as the Jews than actually Soviet soldiers, anyone from the Soviet Union. Hitler and the Nazis were extreme with the Soviets. And, you know, for Canadians, there's international law. That's the law of decolonization brought forward in 1960 to address that which happened in the world. Very important to the Russians, very important. And in fact, it's what ended enfranchisement in Canada for all the women involved in missing and murdered Indigenous women. That was the beginning law forced upon Canada and a lot of other countries in the world, basically Nazified. And that was removed from a lot of countries because Canada participated in enfranchisement. There's a reserve, the Michael, some people say Michelle Reserve, right where I grew up, Spruce Grove, Stony Plain area. And that reserve was put through enfranchisement, liquidated, all those treaty Indians thrown off their reserve, gone. Now that doesn't happen post 1960, but unfortunately for a lot of First Peoples, anything pre-1960, you felt the firm hand of the Nazified Canadian government, which is now, and the Democrats are right in there like a dirty shirt. Anthony Blinken still leaves his tweet up even though he's 100% myth-busted. And not just by Dmitry Polanski. The reality is he's myth-busted by his own country records. Now, Canadians, that Nazi SS butcher that was brought into Parliament, 98 years old, the youngest possible 1945 18-year-old Nazi, it would now be 60 or 96 years old. We're very close to the time in history where there are no more witnesses of that time period, not adult witnesses. We're just about there. There's only a handful left throughout the world, probably less than 1,000. And it won't be long as we're seeing, at least with the Democrats, absolutely Justin Trudeau's Liberals, Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives, and Jagmeet Singh's New Democrats. We're seeing a complete eraser sweeping. And Canada is the first to try to sweep away the evil scourge that we were told never again, never forget, and never again. And I guess we're going to walk right into it. We're coming up on that 100-year mark, and the reality is hardly any remnants of those people of that time are left. That's the reality. A fraction of a fraction left. And soon there won't be any, and they know that date where they can safely say by 2030 that there are no more survivors of the Holocaust left. Absolutely none. So it didn't happen. Goodbye. Erase it from history. To see the Secretary of State make a bold statement like that, completely erasing a major warning from all of the allies of World War II to see the number one nation in the world under the Democrats make a false and completely fictitious statement as Secretary of State when there is massive academic institutions, massive NGOs that will dispute everything Anthony Blinken says in that tweet statement. And he hasn't even erased it, even though the evidence to the contrary is right there published. And anyone can look up real, historical, accurate records. You can watch all kinds of Hollywood movies. Escape from Sobibor comes to mind in relation to the Soviets, Germans. Oh, I got lucky there. I don't know why, as a society, we blindly follow. But honestly, when you look at what Germany was capable of doing with its subjects during that period of Nazified enrichment of the German society, everybody fell in line. And sadly, Canadians are too. They'll believe what the Liberals say, they'll believe what the Conservatives say, they'll believe what the New Democrats say. And I don't know what's going to happen with USA under the Democrats. I don't know how many radicals will fall in line too. But it's exactly why people were able to easily be led into boxcars, easily be put to death in gas chambers without a peep. And it went on for many years during that period before the world woke up. And unfortunately, those closest to monarchical systems, those with the basis of divine human beings running the show, and people smitten by that idea of divine human beings, lords, princesses, princes and kings. I don't know why people gravitate to that. You think you're going to get there one day in your life. You'll never get there. Not as a working person. And even as a small business owner, you'll never see it. You'll always be under the boot. And I don't know why people don't see it, but I guess we have to go through historical reality check. And it's sad. It's sad. I hope the Democrats get voted out, but I don't think Donald Trump's going to be the one to do it. He's got a mountain of legal problems to go forward, and I think that's going to cost him the election. And sadly, I think even a nutty, crazy Joe Biden can beat him, and that's going to be the reality, and it's sad. And 4 more years of that nuttiness and the complete transformation of the Democrats right back to the racist-based party they always were. And you can look at history, all brutal racism born out of the monarchical, Nazified world is the basis of the Democrats. It always has been historically. And people don't like to look at that, but it's true. And what is that? Fascism and socialism. And you can see the radical socialism. Now we're seeing the radical fascism that's always been ever present in Canada. It's always been the Canadian model. It's scary, scary, scary. If you haven't gone on Twitter X to go look at Anthony Blinken's post, you should, and click the reality check posted there that you can't dismiss. In fact, you can go through all kinds of American NGOs, all kinds of American records. You can watch true documentaries, and you'll find that Anthony Blinken is nothing but a liar. And he's not taking it down. That should scare everybody. Canada's listed in Dimitri's post. It's basically the generator of this. We can see the Democrats falling in line, at least at their higher levels, highest levels. And that's terrifying. Truly and utterly terrifying. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Go look for yourself. That should disturb you when the Secretary of State makes an absolute false statement. Who are you? What are you in bed with? Because you're certainly not there for a We the People Republic. That's my video. That's the breaking news of the morning. It's actually 2 days old, but nobody sees anything anymore because the truth is greatly sequestered. I know.